So first of all, hello. My name is Tina. I'm working in the international office, and I will be your host tonight. With me is also my colleague Tanya, who's taking care of the technical support. Tanya, just say hi.
Hi.
Okay, so first of all, we are recording the event so that others who couldn't join us today can see today's presentation also at some later time. Additionally, I would like to tell you that we will be accepting questions at the end. So in case you have a question in between the presentation and our discussion, please write it down in the chat or just remember it for some later time. So first of all, I would like to explain a bit about the exchange. Sorry, some technical issues with the presentation. Okay, so why exchange? A study says that 6 months of mobility changes you as 4 years of life. So we really encourage our students to take advantage of our mobility programs and go on an exchange. We offer exchanges for the purpose of study and also the purpose of traineeship. Students decide whether they want to take a study exchange or traineeship based on their own preferences, their study program, recognition possibilities after they return from abroad, and sometimes the mobility itself does not depend on the mobility program. So one of the important things that I need to inform you about is that if you decide for the study exchange, you need to go to an institution that family can fit. Otherwise, if you choose a traineeship exchange, you can basically search for the host by your own. Sometimes it's a bit challenging, but that actually offers you a lot more possibilities about where you want to go and what you want to do. Our agreements for the study exchange are available on our website on the mobility tab. Otherwise, students choose their institution based on the comparable study program and afterwards the recognition, interesting university or program, offer of the mobility for mobile students, and of course, location. The mobility program it offers are Erasmus. Erasmus has two different, let's say, parts. One part are exchanges in the EU, EEA, Macedonia, and Turkey, while the other one offers mobilities outside Europe. To go outside Europe, it's a bit more challenging because the university first needs to apply for the funds, so for the scholarship, and we don't get the money every year. So what is the safest option is exchange in the normal Erasmus program, but otherwise you can also try your luck in the Erasmus program outside EU. Additional important thing is that this year you will be applying for the Erasmus exchange in the next academic year. So you apply a year before. And this year, actually, we are planning to do 2 different open calls. One open call for the first semester and the second open call for the second semester. The first open call, so for the first semester, will be probably published around January, but we usually inform all our students through notifications, through emails, through news on the website. So somehow you shouldn't miss it. The second program is Tepus, which offers exchanges in more Balkan countries, while Poland, Slovakia, Czech Republic, and so on as well. Then we have bilateral scholarships, which are offered from different governments, but you need to apply for the calendar year. That means that now the applications are open for the next year, 21, from January till December. Then we have Javni sklad za razvoj kadrov, but their requirement is that you're a student with Slovene citizenship. So our foreign students usually cannot take advantage of this mobility program. Then we have different inter-university agreements, and you can also go on an exchange outside of the programs if you find the institution was able to host you without the pre-request of a mobility program. So I'm explaining a bit more about Erasmus because it's the biggest one, and also our students usually go through the Erasmus students on exchange. What is required for an Erasmus exchange for studies and for traineeship as well is the student status. Otherwise, you can also go on a traineeship after studies. That means that you go on an exchange after you already graduate. So that means after your diploma. You have 1 year to go on a traineeship, but an important thing is that you need to apply for this exchange while you still have your student status. So once you graduate, you cannot apply for this exchange. And of course, one of the most important conditions is that you go abroad. You cannot do your exchange in Slovenia, in some other institution. For more information, we are always available through the email. You can visit our website. We also have e-classroom, Međunarodne izmenjave, or in English, international exchanges. We usually are also available personally in international office, but given the current situation, we're not able to accept you in the office because we're mostly working from home. Therefore, I suggest you to write us an email and we can arrange a Zoom meeting like we did yesterday, but on more, let's say, specific level with your specific questions. So what did we prepare for you today? We have 3 guests. We have 3 students, current and previous ones, who went on an Erasmus exchange. We have Nina, who studied mathematical sciences. She's waving at you. Who went to Budapest, to Hungary, and was there for 1 semester. Then we have Vid. Vid's coming from the Department of Biodiversity, and he went on an exchange for 2 times already, in both times to Spain. And as far as I know, both experiences were, you know, a bit different, even though they were in the same country. Our 3rd guest is Nick, who's coming from biopsychology program. And he was on an exchange in the 2nd semester, so during the coronavirus lockdown. So first of all, we're gonna listen to Nick's presentation because he won't be here until the end of the online event. So what now? I suggest you to sit back, enjoy the presentations, and of course, prepare your questions.
Thank you, Tina. Okay, I will start. Okay. Just let me. So you see it, can you just do like this? Is everything okay? Okay.
Yeah, I do
Okay.
see it, so it's fine.
Okay, so yeah, I went to do an Erasmus exchange in Portugal, in Lisbon. I went there this year in February and stayed there until September actually. Yeah, as you can see, I stayed there no matter the current global situation. Okay, however, let me start. So something about Egash Munish. Egash Munish is a cooperative of higher education. I Googled it, and it actually, this cooperative means that they are more practically oriented. They consider themselves as benchmark institution in teaching health in Portugal. They have academic programs like dentistry, pharmacy, nutrition, health sciences, health and statistics, forensics, psychology, nursing, physiotherapy, dental prosthetics, and biomedical lab. There are approximately around 2,500 students and 2,000 teachers. And then they have this Egas Muniz campus, which is in Almada. It's actually 30 minutes from Lisbon. But anyway, I was living in Lisbon and driving there. In campus, there is fitness, there is sports ground, pool, restaurant. They even offer rooms for students. I can quickly just show you some pictures from their gallery, how it looks like. So yeah, this is the entrance. This is how it looks like around. This was here I was when I arrived to Portugal. I was dealing with bureaucratic stuff, and they gave me schedule of my classes. Actually, these women that are there were actually there when I was there. Yes. Yeah, I was also in library quite some time. I never went to fitness. This is eating area. This is how it looks like outside. I want to get to the picture with the pool. I was never in the pool, but anyway, it's really cool. They have a pool at their campus. So yeah. And another thing I wanted to say about Egas Muniz is that they have Erasmus Student Network Almada, and they are also they were really kind. I was in contact with them through WhatsApp. It was really personal. They were really responsive, and they were sending me information even about like Erasmus events or even parties or whatever. Basically, those are students, and they can help you. Then something about reasons for going. My personal reasons are that it's an international, novel, crazy, unknown, fun, and thousands of other things. But the point is that it's experience. It's this was my main reason why I went abroad. Then I met a lot of new people. I gathered a lot of new friends from all around the world. I loved Portugal and Lisbon before already. I love the ocean. I love amazing pink sunsets, which are really common in Lisbon. I love blue sky and sunny weather. I checked, and statistically, it's around 70% sunny in Portugal out of all of the time. But in my case, it was like 90% sunny because I was in second semester. There are lots of students in Portugal, approximately 350,000 in Portugal, and also a lot of Erasmus students. Lisbon is a super international city. There is a lot of people from even America, especially from South America. There are a lot of people from basically all around the world. It's a really open city, and also Portugal in general is a really open city. They have good food, good wine, and beer. I will show some picture. They really have very good and cheap fish, and also a lot of other stuff. There are really nice people. In general, I think that there are more nicer people than in a lot of places around the world. But although, of course, not everyone is nice, there is also I will give you an example. There is like everywhere not so many some people that are not nice. And in the end, yes, of course, this novel environment expands your view. It pushes you out of your comfort zone. It makes you more open-minded, more experienced, more wise, connected, international, and so on. Okay, now about some more for me personally tough stuff, boring stuff, bureaucracy. So I wanted to quickly show you. So what you have to do is, like, you have to decide 1 year in advance. So if you're thinking about going on Erasmus, you have to apply this January, and so you apply in Studentsky Informacijski System, and it's like here it's written that for example, for last year, the applications were open from 30th December to 23rd of January, and probably this year will be similar. And then you have a lot of stuff here that helps you how to do it, but generally you go to your sheets, and it's really easy. You go here and you just apply for your Erasmus. As you can see, I even applied for the next year to go to practical practično usposabljanje, I don't know how to say it. Anyway, what you have to do is you have to apply with your Europass CV. You have to write a one word page motivational letter, and you have to have some proof of knowledge of a foreign language. And then next step is filling out this prošnja za sklenitev učnega sporazuma. You have to do this sometime before going on Erasmus, even if it's like 1 week before, no problem. But the point is, you have this even online, and you can download it. It's like 3 pages. It's not a lot, but the point is this table. I just want to quickly show you what is really important. You should do is you should find study programs online of your receiving institution. This is Erasmus online page. You go to your institution page and you check for your program what are their subjects, and then you pick the right subjects. For example, I picked motivation and emotions, and I basically sent this link to my professor of a similar subject, which was biopsychology of motivation and emotion. And then I got like a positive feedback that it's similar. And then the last thing you have to do is get signatures. And I also want to show you how this looks like. So this is when it's finished, this, and you have to get signatures like this. So for example, motivation and emotions, biopsychologia motivacije and emocii, and the professor signed it. And when you have this, it's only the last step, which is filling out learning agreement, which looks like this. You basically have some information, and then point is to write down which subjects are you going to do at receiving institution. Okay, now let's go quickly move from this boring stuff. Yeah, the last thing I wanted to say is that there are also some other small bureaucratic things that you have to do, but don't worry, because Family International Office will guide you towards the light at the end of this tunnel, and it's definitely worth it. And as well, about for the stuff that you have to do regarding receiving institution, there is a coordinator with which you get in contact, and they help a lot. At least in my experience, they helped me a lot, and it was a pleasure to cooperate. Okay, then I have some survival tips. So first tip is when, even before going there, join Erasmus groups on Facebook. For example, like Erasmus Lisboa, you see it here. This is already a group for the next year. As you can see, it's 2020, 2021, and there are already like almost 12,000 members inside. So join this. There is a lot of cooperation, a lot of altruism, a lot of help between people, and it really helps you. There are even a lot of people just writing, like if someone wants to grab a drink together, and then like people randomly meet. It's really nice. The other thing really important is, if possible, check the flat in person. So you get a nice one. Why I'm saying this? Because sometimes rooms have no windows. Sometimes rooms don't even exist. I don't want to scare you. It didn't happen to me, but I know from some other people that happened this to them. So the point is, if you have a chance, maybe go there and stay in a hostel for a couple of days and check the apartments that you booked in person. It's also good to see flatmates, which flatmates live in your apartment if you're not going to live alone. So this is one very important tip. Or the other thing is, you can also find somebody that lives there already, or you know, maybe someone from for example, I knew somebody in Lisbon, so this was my help. Then contact students or friends that did Erasmus in your country. So in the country that you are going, especially International Office of Family was here in my experience really helpful. I got like contacts from 2 students. I contacted them, and they told me a lot about the Erasmus already before I was going there. also which subjects are cool to pick and which professors are cool and stuff like this. Then connect with classmates, of course. This is also very important. Especially this was in my case because I wasn't that much in the classroom, so we were doing mostly online. And but in any situation, connect with classmates from receiving institution, and they will help you out. There are lots of events for Erasmus students. Go there, meet people, um, have fun because sometime you will have to come back. Yeah, and be ready for a post Erasmus nostalgic sadness. But the not the feeling one, the good one I wanted to write. Yeah, it's kind of sad when you go back home, but this just means that Erasmus experience is usually so nice. And okay, I want about my Erasmus experience. I don't know how many minutes more I have. If I can get like a feedback just to know how much should I speed it up.
Hey, you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, no, you still have like 6-7 minutes officially.
Okay.
But if you have more, you can just prolong it. No worries from my side.
Okay, thank you very much. So let me. Okay, so yes, I started from Venice, which is a really cool connection to Lisbon. It was a direct connection, which was cool. And then I arrived. Maybe I shouldn't put on diaphragm. Okay, like this. And then I arrived. I didn't went to hostel. I actually booked a flat for 2 weeks at some guy, and then during these 2 weeks I was going around to see other flats to find the good one. I just wanted to share like the first view. This was already in the end of February when Slovenia was like kind of still cold, but there was like a really nice blue sky. And yeah, so then this is how I was going to the university, because my university was in the other side of the river. Then this is one of the first sunsets that we were experiencing. I have to also tell you that I went to Lisbon with my girlfriend. So we actually both planned this experience together. She was doing practice for her university, and I was doing studies. Yeah, so here you can see like Lisbon is full of people. There is a lot of stuff going on. A lot of people are outside. It's a really coast city. I don't know how to say it. And a lot of students. These are mostly young people. Yeah, then as I was saying, there is lots of events for Erasmus students, especially in Lisbon. In Lisbon, they even have like a area which is called like Erasmus Corner. It's in Bairro Alto. This is one area where there's a lot of bars. So yeah, find these things. Probably these things will find you, and just use the opportunity to meet new people. So yes, this was our apartment. It's in Lisbon. It's really nice. The apartments are really big, and they have big ceilings. This is a really common in Lisbon. Yeah. And then yes, the next thing, we found like a very cheap couch online, and this guy was our flatmate. So this was our first kind of experience of becoming friends. So we went to some place, and we were like carrying this couch through Lisbon for 15 minutes. And then of course we also had a talk and a dinner in the end together. This was our first friend when we arrived. And then we also, for the carnival, we went out. Okay, this is one of Lisbon's miraduros. Miraduro means viewpoint. There is a lots of viewpoints in Lisbon, and it's common to go there and just stay there, listen to some music, watch the sunset. Yeah, then I wanted to share. We went to for 8th of March. We were active citizens, so we went to a protest for female rights. It was really cool, really nice. About the food, so yes, I was before. So they have really good fish and really cheap. So if you eat fish, use it when you go to Portugal. It's and this is common for them. They have this rice, white rice, cooked potatoes, and or meat or fish, and some salad. And maybe it looks like not so good, but it's really good. Trust me. Okay, this is also one of the sunsets from one of the viewpoints. Um, this is another viewpoint with two Polish friends, and there is also lots of students all around. This was before the quarantine, so we were still going around. Then this was the view from our balcony. But also just so you see how nice the weather is in general there. It's really, you wake up every day very, very happy. And then this was, I don't know if you hear, but people are like clapping because this was one of, in Lisbon, there is a really strong collective spirit. They had like a revolution not so long ago, and this was one of the nights that was quarantine already, so people were like crazy with cards, horning and clapping. Then this was the roof of our building. We when the quarantine started, we were going up on the roof a lot to catch the vitamin D and to practice. But also it was really nice. The sunsets were really nice. This is also one of the pictures. Then this is one place in Lisbon, really nice, Alameda it's called. This was after the quarantine, and there was this weekend when like everyone went out again, and we were just like so impressed to see so many people after so much time of being inside. This is one of the parks, really huge parks, a huge park, this one especially, but also Lisbon has a lot of nice parks. We were going there to read and to study. This is one of the like small areas of Lisbon where there's like kind of it's like a forest, and we were going there hiking. And then these are our flatmates. I don't know. We had so many flatmates. We had like a Brazilian guy, Bolivian guy, Panama, Iceland, a girl from Iceland, girl from Italy, a guy from Turkey, a guy from Poland. One girl was from Indonesia. Then another girl was from Thailand. It was really, but also people were changing, going home and coming, new people. We were actually 10 people living in a flat. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is that we met so many different cultures. It was really amazing. This is one of the streets in Bairro Alto. I wanted to show you, so you see how it looks like there is a lot of things going on outside on the streets, and people just like dance and sing, and they have these lights between the streets, and it's really nice. This was the first night that we went out with my girlfriend to have a drink after the quarantine, and actually at 10 p.m. it should end. So we were here like from 8 till 10, really almost crying to be outside. This is now I forgot the name, but this is the most famous fado singer from Portugal. I just wanted to share this picture because it's part of their culture and history. Yeah, it's a lot of there is a lot of street art also in Lisbon, and a lot of street art only dedicated to her, Amelia Rodriguez. Then this is one of the terraces. Like Lisbon is really like relief is really crazy. There are like I think 7 hills in Lisbon, just in the city center. So you're basically most of the time going up and down and up and down. So just to walk through Lisbon, you're already kind of in shape. So you can see here, you see it's like this is one of the streets just going down, and this is normal. Then yeah, like I said, Lisbon is really street art is really common, but I also wanted to show you this flower. This is their symbol of their revolution in 70s, so it's really common to see it all around Lisbon. Then this is really like a student park. I don't know from which university is connected, but like we got this information from someone that it was like a student park, and a lot of people were going there. Yeah, this is just me trying to fit in the context of Lisbon. Lisbon is really, really colorful city. This is also this park. I don't know if you hear the sound, but there is all the time someone singing, someone playing guitar or whatever. It's really peaceful. Yeah, one of the viewpoints. This is also one of the viewpoints, really nice. They also have like a really majestic architecture. They were kind of rich and had like authoritarian government before 70s, so they built up some really majestic and really nice stuff. Again, food. Again, as you see, here is rice. Here is like potatoes and some vegetables and fish. Then again, we are in the park celebrating birthday of my girlfriend. These are mostly our flatmates. Again, this was one of the goodbye dinners with some flatmates. Then the other ones arrived. Then there are some pictures. We went to the south, which is also a really nice part of Portugal. It's like really rocky and a lot of cliffs, a lot of really nice structures, really nice nature. There is something. Okay, I will speed up a bit. So yeah, these are also some friends that we met in the south of Portugal. I also wanted to point out again, what is this? Okay, so like I said, a lot of nice art on the streets. Also, one of the another goodbye with some other flatmates on the top of our building, because mostly it was closed. The things outside were closed. This is one of the really nice places in Lisbon. As you can see, you can see this famous bridge that they have, really similar to the San Francisco one. And this is Matt Museum, like a museum of contemporary art, which is also really nice. I recommend. Some other street art. One of the viewpoints, and blue sky. Another viewpoint, and again you can see this bridge and Lisbon. Blue sky. These are also the colors of the houses of Lisbon, are really pastel colors like the sky. We were thinking that maybe it's somehow connected, but I never fact checked. This is one of the parks from Gulbenkian Foundation. It's a really nice, really big park, and there are lots of places like this in Lisbon that you can go and hide. Also from the heat, because in the summer it's very warm. Another nice view. And this is the end. This is me and Jana going home on the airplane. And you can see the faces are kind of, I mean, they're not really sad. It was kind of sad going back home. So yeah, and this is the last slide. Just wanted to say thank you for listening, and in case you have any questions, I can answer it now, or I will answer it in the chat. Stop sharing. Okay.
Yeah, so thank you, Nick, for this presentation about Portugal and your experience with the coronavirus. In the chat, we have a few questions for you, so I will just read them out and you can answer online. So the first one is a question about the car. I suppose that it's about if you rented a car and where did you do it? And what about the driving license?
Yes, there is lots of companies that rent car in Lisbon. Lisbon is a really big city, and but we rented it on the airport. Yeah, there's like, I don't know, you have to pick between 10 different like companies, and there some have higher prices, some lower, but in the end. About driving license, I don't know, I had my driving license, nobody stopped us. I'm not sure if I did something wrong, but I have a Slovenian one, so and it's valid. So I guess this is important as well.
Since we're talking, sorry, about the price of the rental, maybe what do you think about the prices in Portugal? Can be they like similar to Slovenian ones, or?
Yeah, sadly, the situation is becoming it's like they're more and more expensive, especially if I compare to 5 years ago. It's like almost 50% higher price, or even 100%. I would say they even have a lot of protests about it because of Airbnb and stuff like this, that basically make rich people buy apartments, and then like locals have to move out of the city because the prices are so high. But in our case, we were paying 520 euros for a month. We were paying this together, so each person, but I was living with my girlfriend in the same room, and with 9 other flatmates, so we were basically 11 at one point. And all the other flatmates, they were paying between 350 and 500 per room, even though if they were alone. So I would say between 300 and 600 is somewhere the price, or you can go even higher. But for a student, I mean, under 300, it's really hard to find a room, I would say. And especially for Lisbon, I don't know how it's in other cities. You have to be careful because they have these really big apartments with lots of rooms, and there are lots of rooms inside. So for example, in our apartment, three flatmates had like a room without a window, and they were still paying for 300 and 500 or 400 euros per month. And there was another one also without the window. Actually, he had a window, but it was a window towards another room. So you have to really be careful about that. This is a specialty of Lisbon. I don't know how it's in other cities, but yeah.
However, you already answered the second question, and that was how much does the flat cost? So if I understood you correctly, it was like 250 euros. Does anybody want to check in and ask anything else, Nick? No? Okay, then if we don't have any questions, Nick, thank you for the presentation, and thank you for joining us at this event. I hope that you remain at the disposal in case any of the students later on will have any questions. Okay, so I suggest that we continue. Since we had a guy for the first presentation, I suggest that we continue with a girl. Nina, the word, the stadium is yours.
Thank you. I'm just gonna move this a bit. Move my sound. Okay, doesn't matter. I'm gonna share just presentation. Okay. So, my name is Nina. I was studying mathematics at FAMNIT, and in the time of my Erasmus exchange, I was in the first years of my master's studies. So today I'm gonna talk about how that was and how that was from my eyes through everything I was living. And I hope I will answer some of your questions, or maybe someone is still undecided if they want to go, and now you will maybe get some more motivation to go. So yeah, this is gonna be my Erasmus experience in 4 steps, maybe a bit more, but let's leave it at 4. Okay. So the idea, how it all started was, first I was sitting in the same presentation as you're sitting today. Not quite the same, because it was 2 years ago, and we were still in person in classroom at family, but still. And there were so many questions I was asking myself. But most of all, one question that comes to your mind, or that was coming to my mind, was, why should I go? I mean, I understand everything and it's gonna be amazing, and everyone says it's amazing and changes your life and blah, 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 but why should I go? I had so many excuses why I shouldn't go, but I'm just gonna tell you, why not? I mean, you just go and try. What is the worst that can happen? Everything can be sorted out. And at the end, this is how it is. But yes, so when you decide, or when I decided, yes, I'm going, wait, yes, I will go. I can do it. I think I can do it. Just like this. Then I said, okay, I had to find a place where to go on an exchange. And it started with checking the webpage from PAMIT and checking all of the places you can go. As you see, there are like a lot of places that are offered to go there. And you can have many reasons why you want to go somewhere. And there is no bad reason why you want to go. Maybe you want to go somewhere that it's close to Slovenia because you want to come home or come back here as much as possible. Or you want to go to the place which is the furthest away because you don't want to come home in between. You want to go somewhere where you know the language. For us Slovenians, this kind of eliminates a lot of countries, but still, maybe you can still find something. Or you want to go somewhere where you don't know the language. Millions of reasons. You just have to find your reason. There is no bad answer. And my reason, or where I went, I'm sorry, can you hear me? Okay. Yes, okay, it doesn't matter. So what I did, where I went, I decided to go to Budapest. And my reason to go to Budapest was actually really scientific one, kind of. There is one professor who is a really good professor, and it's kind of like a legend in mathematics. And I found out that he's still teaching, and he's teaching at the ELTE University in Budapest. And that was my reason. I just decided and said, okay, I want to go there, and I want to sit in his classes, you know, to see how it is, to get some experience out of it, like some part of history. Okay, maybe it's bad to say this, but yeah, just that was the reason. And when I decided, okay, I'm going there, the next thing what I had to do was write a learning agreement. And to write the learning agreement, this step, okay, if I'm honest, this is a bit of like bureaucracy, something boring. And if this is the reason why you don't want to go, I do understand you, because no one wants to do this thing and fill out these papers. But on the other hand, it will not take you so long. I mean, at most, let's say 1 month, and then you're done with it. So you can do it. Everyone can do it. If I did it, then you can also fill out these papers. So how do you start in writing the learning agreement? First, what I did was check online what I have to finish in the year I want to do the exchange. And in mathematics, especially in masters, it was super easy. So we have some basic courses, internal, elective, external courses, so nothing so specific, so it's really flexible. Then what you do is check the description of the courses on the webpage from FAMNIT. You can check what they're offering and what you should cover. And then you will also want to check the counterpart on the university where you're going. But how do you find these papers? I mean, for FAMNIT, you kind of know, because you know the webpage and you maybe know where to find them. For the university where you're going, it's a really easy way how to find anything. What you're looking for is just talk to people, and not just from FAMNIT. You can send an emails to people from university you're going. In my example was like this. I Googled and I entered Budapest University Erasmus, and you get like 5 people who are responsible for Erasmus exchange. And then you just write the same email to 5 people saying, hi, I need help. And one of them will answer you. And actually they will not just send you what's online or what you can get like on the first glance, but they also know some other stuff, like maybe which subjects are going to happen, not happen, or some extra, and they give you even some extra information. So actually writing an email, it's even easier than just looking everything online for yourself. So yeah, then when you decide on the subjects or what you want to take or what you could take, is you write them down on a piece of paper, go to your coordinator at FAMNIT, in my case this was Professor Kuzma, and show it to them and say, okay, I want to take this course instead of this one instead of this one. And not always it's gonna go through perfectly. For example, let's say that there is a course in the university you're going, which has like 6 credits, and you need 6 credits at home, but a part of the course you already covered a year before. So maybe you cannot get all 6 credits out of it. You maybe get 5 and then you have to do something else at home. Or maybe you cover there more. You have a subject for 9 credits, but you only need 6. So maybe you get these 3 extra or whatever. I mean, it's not so easy, but it's worth doing it. And it can be done. So yeah, and at the moment when then you choose your when you write the learning agreement, then comes the step 3, which is applying for scholarship. This part is actually the easiest thing you have to do. You just follow instructions, which you will find on the webpage from FAMNIT, or you can also send an email to people from international office. And actually, yeah, this part is the easiest. Maybe there are also some other funds, not this Erasmus scholarship fund. There is also some extra, and I don't really know much about it, but I guess Tina and Tanya have really good knowledge about all of this stuff, so they will tell you everything. And when you're done this, the thing that's left for you, the last step, is just to go and enjoy. And I can see that you cannot see my pictures. Well, wait, okay, so oh, they're coming. So you should just like go and enjoy. And what does this mean? Just try to meet new people, try new food, get to know some local culture, yeah. And most of all, just like try to be a tourist. But I'm saying this and it sounds so like, oh, super easy. How can you do all of that? But before you can actually go, maybe it's a good idea to find a place where you want to live. And in my case, or from my experience, what is the easiest way to do is check the Facebook page. And this Facebook page, I don't know how it's called, but it always exists. Like Nick said before, there is something like Erasmus students in the city you're going through, rent a flat in the city you're going through, or whatever. And what also always is left is you can check the local web pages. And even if you don't speak the language you're going to, or like in the country, you just go to Google Translate and write inside rent a flat in the city, translate it to the local language, put it into Google, and you will find some web pages and you will find some stuff inside. So are the pictures from my apartment where I was living. It was really, really small. So this was my bed. And on the other side, there was a bed like this, a night table like this, and one more closet. And there was living a girl, a friend of mine. And then, I mean, I met her there. And then you come here to the room. And here outside on this couch, there was living also one guy. He was like the owner of the apartment. I mean, he was my age, 2 years younger, so it's not like too old, but we were cramped in this small, tiny place. But the location was amazing. I was living in the middle of the city center, 5 minutes to everywhere. Like the giant metro line was going by my house, so this was good. And the price was okay. My price, I was paying, I think, 180 euros for this per month. I mean, it's kind of a lot if you think you only have a bed, but it's good for something. I mean, it's a place, it's a good place, so yes. And it's not forever, it was just for 1 semester, so you can survive this. Okay, so then when you find a place to live, you can just go there and you can enjoy, okay? But then at one point you will also want to meet some new people. And my advice, how you can get and meet new people, is definitely join the Erasmus Student Network organization. In Slovenia, I know we don't have it, or maybe we have it in Ljubljana, not in Koper, but in other countries, I think it's more, not developed, but like in use, or however we should phrase it. So what does ESN offer you? Well, they go for some trips through the like in the country and also outside the country, the country you're visiting. Also, they offer some discounts. I know that when you were applying to this, I think you have to pay some small amount, and then you get some card, and then you're their member for like 1 year. And I know that Ryanair had some discounts for students with Erasmus card. So they also, of course, throw nice parties and everything. But yeah, especially you will meet a lot of people there. And another thing, what you can do, or what I did, was maybe try some sport, something new. For example, I'm not such a good dancer, and then I joined the dancing group from university, and it was really fun. I mean, the classes were in Hungarian. The lady sometimes spoke to me in Slovene, so it was nice. And the best part, no one knew me there. So, you know, even if I'm so bad, no one knows about it, because, I mean, people who know about it are not in my life anymore, so I don't care. But yes. And before you go, it's maybe also nice to be aware of the fact that not always that things are not gonna always go as you were expecting. So don't worry if you are gonna face some troubles. You can have some problems in courses because they're tougher than you were thinking, or I don't know, like you have a feeling they know everything and that you are missing a lot. That was in my case. And what you can do is always ask students that are next to you for help. Ask professors. They are always willing to help. And at the end, if something doesn't go as you planned and you cannot finish some subject, don't worry, because you don't have to complete everything from your learning agreement. I think there is the lower bound how much you need to complete, because if you don't get any credit at the end, you just went for holidays, and that's not okay. But I think it's like not so hard to achieve it. And yes, if you don't pass some subject there, it's not the end of the world. You can always change the learning agreement, even during the term and also when you come back or at the end. So don't worry. Like my case, how it was, I started in the beginning of September, the Erasmus exchange, and the school year or the academic year starts in October at FAMNIT. And I remember after 2 weeks, I was thinking, okay, I'm never gonna pass these things. I wanna go home. I didn't lose anything. I can come home. I can do every subject here. And it's like I had two weeks of vacations. But at the end, I stuck with it. I stayed there, and out of 5 courses that I wanted to take, I didn't finish one, and that one was for just 3 credits, but I also added some for 6. So at the end, I had more credits than I was expecting to get. So everything worked nice, and I learned a lot. And to finish on the nice note, so to show you even some pretty pictures or to tell you something more about my experience or what I liked. So yeah, I see that pictures are still loading. What I loved about living in this big, nice, giant new city is that you can be a tourist whenever you want. What does this mean? Like if there is a bad day, or if you just don't feel like going out and explore the city, you don't have to go. And then there can come like one Saturday when you're just feeling, I have time, I want to do something. You can just go and explore the city, go sightseeing. Sometimes I would walk home from university just because I could, just to enjoy things around me, just to stop and look at the places, at the architecture. It's different. It's not Slovenia, so it was something new for me, and you can enjoy it, most definitely. Then next thing on my list, or what I would suggest, is just go and try some new food. Even if this food is not really new, it's more maybe like something that you tried it before, or you had it in Slovenia, but every person makes it differently. So just try it. And it doesn't have to be something really very special or fancy, but just yeah, something new. And I think I have something more. Yeah. Most of all, yeah, you just have fun. See some places, go to some concerts, go to parties. And the best thing for me was when my friends come to visit. So I could take them out and I could show them around, and it was like, I was like, I don't know, I was really happy because it's a piece of home coming to you, but then you show them a new place where you're living right now, and they're all amazed how you know everything around, even though you don't, but they don't have to know it. And when all of this ends, don't forget to, I mean, you will have to return back to Slovenia, but you will come back with a lot of nice and beautiful memories. And even if at some points you were feeling better, there were some hard times, at the end you will forget all about it, and you will just come home and you will be super happy about everything that you did. And this would be my presentation. And I think now it's your turn to go on your Erasmus, and maybe next year I'm gonna be listening to your Erasmus experience talk. So yes, this is
That's
kind
great.
of all from my. I didn't want to be too long because these things usually, I don't know, at one point it just goes out, but yes.
Thank you, Nina. This is actually my second or third time listening to Nina's presentation, but I must admit that it's always a bit different, so it's never boring. So we received a couple of questions in the chat, but none of the questions are actually directly meant for Nina. So do you have any questions directly for Nina and her exchange in Budapest? Okay, not really. So I would just go through the questions that we received in the chat. So the first one was from Isabella. Does everyone get the scholarship? If yes, how much? If it's okay to ask. Yeah, actually, once your Erasmus application is approved, you're entitled to a scholarship that will help you through the exchange. The amount of scholarship actually depends based on the country that you're going. So you have three different, let's say, groups of the countries, though with high expenses, let's say something in between, not high, not low, and those of a bit lower expenses, and the scholarship depends on where you're going. In the previous year, so for the high expenses countries, it was like 520 euros. For the middle group was 470 euros, and the group 3, so though with lower expenses, was 420. So that's about it. Usually, this is the amount of the scholarships every year, but it can differ since it doesn't really depend on us how much money we received for the exchanges. So I hope that I answered to your question, Isabella. Otherwise, if you have, okay, great. And the second one was from Andrei, who asked if Nina arranged the visit to ELTE on her own, since it's not listed on family partner institutions.
At the point when I was doing this, ELTE was a part of family institution list. So
it still is, but you can find it under the name of, I'm not sure if I'm gonna pronounce it right, but it's
the full name. ELTE,
yeah.
you know. ELTE Schlorant something.
Yeah, Eötvös Loránd University, and a fourth word at the end. And we still do have an agreement with them, and we also cooperate with them quite often.
Yeah, we have some professors from ELTE University
who visit regularly, yes. So any other question for Nina, maybe in the meantime? No? Okay. Then I suggest that we continue with the third presentation. That's going to be from Vid. He went on his exchange for 2 times. Both were a bit different, but Vid, the word is yours.
Yes, hi to everyone. First, I'll share my screen. All right. Okay, so yes, I did go on 2 Erasmus exchanges. Both were in the same place because I loved the place so much. I decided to return back after 1 year. So let's start first with where my Erasmus exchange was. It was in University of País Vasco, or Basque Country, so in the north of Spain. I will show you some pictures from the university itself. I don't have many photos of university. This can tell you that maybe I wasn't so much using my phone on the university, or maybe that I wasn't spending so much time in the university. You can judge by yourself. So this is the hallway on the university. This is the nice botanical garden. Maybe you see this, I don't know. Can you see these pictures from Zoom or not? I can't hear no one, so okay, whatever. So this is the nice botanical garden where I was reading a book sometimes. This is just under the university. So this is the university campus. University campus is actually not in the center of Bilbao, but a bit further away, maybe like 20 minutes with a bus from the center. This is my student card. This was from the days when I used to have more hair. And this is the logo from the university itself. So the second thing is, why did I decide to go to this university the first time? And the reason actually was meeting people from the University of Basque Country that came to Koper for their Erasmus exchange. And I met Alazne. This is Alazne, and I met also another friend, Benyat, and they were really nice people, and they presented me with the idea of me going to the Basque Country and spending a semester there. And yeah, they were very nice people, and they convinced me, and that's how I decided to go for the first place. I wanted to go on Erasmus exchange since I started studying, but why did I choose this university specifically was because of the people I met in Slovenia. The time where I went twice. So the first time was in 2018, the summer semester. So from September to January. And the second time I went in the winter semester. So from February to June. But I would just like to show one picture that was taken on, I think, 5th of February or 7th of February, when I was spending a day. This is the second day when I arrived to Bilbao the second time. The weather was 20 degrees, it was sunny, and I was lying shirtless on the beach. So this is one of the reasons why you could choose Bilbao as your destination, even though sometimes weather can be a bit rainy. They have a lot of rain, but the temperatures are very oceanic, so there's no big fluctuations in temperature. So the winters aren't really that cold. So basically, like in Koper, I would say. And the last thing I have, which is a bit more official, is the school curriculum. So you can see the semester starts in September, in comparison to our university when it starts in October. So you have to go a bit earlier, which wasn't a problem for me. And about the subjects that I was taking, I asked for this table through email. Like Nina said, that you can just write emails and they will reply. And in my case, I did just that, and they replied, and they sent me the list of all subjects that are available in English. So the English subjects, but as well subjects which might not be primarily in English, but you can get like literature and stuff, you can get it in English. So it might be a bit hard for you listening in the classes, especially if you don't know the language yet. But you can still get the literature and you can study by yourself. So I wouldn't really focus so much on these subjects. I would just focus maybe on one subject, which is the subject of vertebrates, which was really, really important for me because it was a really, really cool subject. We had a teacher. This guy's name is Joshera Ayarza. This is my teacher. You can see from the picture that he's a really cool guy. And I was visiting his subject twice per week when we had practicals as well. And one interesting thing that we did in the class was that we had this big seminar that we had to prepare, and we were in couples or in three, and we each got some prehistoric animal. In my case, it was the animal Dimetrodon. So we all got like animals which are only known from fossils and from a very long time ago. And when we were studying the history of vertebrates and how each individual let's say sensory system developed, or how the skin developed, or how the bones developed, we were talking this in comparison to what they found in the fossils and what we know from the animals today. So we had to search for information about Dimetrodon in my case, and try to infer how the animal might have looked, judging from the information we have now, because it's very hard to say, for example, what was the color of the skin or stuff like that, because this is not preserved in fossil data. So yeah, this is a very interesting subject for me, and I will go to it a bit later because it was also important. It was also a reason why I came back the second time. But let's just start now with maybe a funny anecdote that happened to me when I was going the first time in Bilbao. I was going from Venice on an airplane, and I just got a new prisrčnica, or flask maybe in English, which was of course filled with alcohol. And I was kind of stupid because I forgot to put it in my bag that went under the plane. So I had it in my backpack. And when I arrived to security, I remembered that I had it, and I thought, okay, now they will take it away from me. I just got it for my birthday from a friend. They will take it. I'll have to leave it here. And I started already apologizing to this policeman at the border, and started saying like, yeah, I know I made a mistake. Can I please take it with me? And he said, there's no problem. You can take it with you. It just has to be empty. And so I had to drink all the bottle in one go. So this is how my first Erasmus experience started. This is just some pictures. This is from the plane, and this is me actually searching for apartments while I was waiting in the airport, trying to find something. Since I couldn't find anything right away, I went to a hostel, like advised before, and I stayed a couple of days in a hostel searching for an apartment. I was trying to find an apartment very close to university, which at the end turned out to be a bit of a mistake, because I got an apartment which was very close to university, like 2 kilometers away, but the university was on top of the hill, so I had to walk a lot to get up there with walking, or I had to take a bus, which took quite a long time because we were in some suburban areas. Whereas the second time I went on an Erasmus exchange, I got a much better place in the center of the city, which was much closer to everything else. And so I would advise you to find a flat closer to the center, and maybe just check for the bus connections or any different way of public transport. I just wanted to show you a map so you can more easily see where Bilbao is. Okay, maybe just this. You know where Bilbao is, it's in north of Spain. I flew from Venice. This is the city itself. This is Leioa. This is where the university is. I think it must be up here somewhere. So the first time I lived here, so very close to university. And the second time I lived here. So this seems a very far away, but actually I had like 15 minutes walking to this main road here, or even like 10 minutes. And from here, the bus took 15 minutes to arrive there because it was just going on a highway. So much better decision to go there. Maybe just a few more pictures. This is in Bilbao. This is a famous bridge, which you maybe saw in some pictures before. This is just me eating some salad while I was flat searching around the city. Also, Bilbao is somehow hilly in some parts, and you can get these very funny looking escalators on the street, so you don't have to walk uphill so much. Just some pictures so you can see how it looks like there. They have a very nice metro system. You can get everywhere with metro. The only bad thing about the metro is that you have to, the metro stops at around midnight during the week. So if you get stuck, and not only metro, but even the buses, if you get stuck somewhere, you might have problems getting back home. And this is what happened once to me. I missed the last bus and I had to call my landlady, which was kind enough to come and pick me up. So this is me in the apartment I found, cooking some lunch. This is me eating lunch with our dinner with my landlady. This is the first and only time we stayed together in this room. She was an old lady who didn't speak a word of English, so I kind of needed to learn Spanish so I could communicate with her. So this is me in the beginning when I was really trying to be a nice not a roommate because it was her place, but yeah, a roommate in a way. This is the city. This is the famous skyscraper. This is just some pictures from the metro. This is a big queue where we were going to some party with classmates. My classmates are here, and we were having to stand in a long line to get inside. So maybe a thing that I could mention here would be that I mostly hang out with people from the Basque class, some people from the class of vertebrates, the one I mentioned before. And I didn't really hang out a lot with other Erasmus students, which I think the majority of Erasmus students do, because it can be a bit easier to meet people in different courses or events and stuff like that. So you find friends there who have similar interests that you do. But for me, it wasn't that case because I knew people from before. So these people kind of helped me to integrate, to meet people from the local people, which might be a bit harder if you're a foreigner and you don't have no one that you would know. So I think that if I haven't met these people, Benyat and Alazne, I would have spent more time with other Erasmus students. This is a picture from the beach, which is very close to the city. I know the university offers surfing classes, which are very cheap. I think like 60 euros for 10 hours of surfing. I didn't take them, unfortunately. I wanted to the second time, but then I was stuck in a lockdown, so I couldn't. This is some plants that I took pictures of on the beach because I'm a biologist, so I need to do also that. This is from the trip that we were taking. So me and my friends, Benyat and some other classmates, we were sometimes making trips around Spain. I think I would advise you, if you go in Erasmus somewhere and you have an option to travel around, it might be a good time to move around that place, because you can not only explore the city where you're at, but also other places, other interesting places are closer or close. So this is where we traveled here to the Pyrenees with friends, and we actually went on this. This was in October or November, I think, and it was the deer rooting season. I don't know if you know what it is, but deer, the male deer, they make this weird noises or sounds when they are calling for females and trying to establish their territory. And then you can go and listen to them. They become really crazy when they are calling for females, so you can get really close to them and don't even notice that you are there. So we were going to the mountains and following the deer. This is some pictures from this excursion that we were on. You can really see how the landscape changes when you go more inside of the country, because the climate gets way drier. So you can see more of a typical Spanish landscape, maybe, because in the north everything is very green, so it kind of reminds you of Slovenia. But when you go more to the south, just because of less rain, the picture is very much different. This is us in the car. Okay, and then another thing that maybe I would mention is that I sometimes go to caves in Slovenia, and I'm a speleologist, and so I also found a caving group in Bilbao as well, and they took me to some caves. So maybe some other pictures in the future will be from that. This is just some. This is a way that you can find places in Bilbao. So this is people in university. They post these ads where you have the phone number, and here it says 3 rooms, 2 bathrooms, whatever, and you can find like places to stay. Because I was actually wanting to change the first place where I was at, because I was staying with this old lady, and maybe I wanted to be with someone else than an old lady. But at the end, I decided to stay there. So this is the pictures from friends of mine from the class. This is us on the metro. Some more pictures from the cavers. This is from our excursion when we went to the Pyrenees to go caving in Pyrenees. Very nice time. There's a dead sheep here. Maybe one interesting thing that you see in Spain would be a lot of they call it buitre. It's this kind of birds that they eat dead meat. I forgot how it's called in English. Vulture, yeah. So these birds are all around, and in Slovenia it's very rare to see them, but in Spain you can see them quite a lot, because they have a different policy about what to do with, if for example, if a sheep dies or if a goat dies in Slovenia, you have to kind of take it away, and you have to, I don't know, cut it up and dig it somewhere, or whatever you have to do. But here they just leave them in the mountains, so these birds can feed on carcasses. This is how I was drying my caving suit in front of my window. This is us at some party in Bilbao. It's very funny. This is the party of Oktoberfest in Bilbao, where they celebrate it a lot. I kind of was surprised, because I thought this is closer to our culture, Oktoberfest, and I couldn't really feel or understand why they feel so passionate about drinking expensive beer, but that's how they are. This is my landlady. This is us eating lunch together. Some more pictures from caving, from cavers. Maybe something a bit more biological is that I went sometimes, I joined my friend Marcos, and he took me on this birding excursions where we were catching birds above the river. We set up nets and we caught some birds, and we ringed them, and we took their weight and stuff like that. So this is also, it's not really an university thing, but some people in university, they also work with birds. And if you are interested, and if you show interest, and if you say, I would also like to join, they would be more than happy to let you join. Then another trip I did, as I said, I was making a lot of trips around in Spain, was when my friend from Slovenia came to visit me, and we went to France. We went to Toulouse on some concert. When we were in the protests of the yellow jerseys, I got smoked with the pepper grenade, or how do they call them? Yeah, just some more pictures. Okay, this is another trip we made with Benyat, where someone broke in the car and stole his phone. This is a Spanish caver when I brought them a Slovenian caving magazine. This is my way back. And actually here the second trip starts. So this is the second trip now. This second trip happened from February to June this year. So this one was a bit different. It started like we had like a couple of weeks of being free and us being able to go around, and then the quarantine started, and the quarantine was pretty bad. You can see we were getting weird in the quarantine. This is me and my roommates. We were celebrating the traditional Holi, the Indian holiday, where we throw color at other people. So yeah, we were basically stuck in the apartment for 3 months. You could just go out and you had to wait in a very long queue to go to a supermarket. So it was a bit more difficult, kind of depressing sometimes, but at least I could work on my final thesis, which was basically the reason why I went back the second time, was not to do subjects, but to work on my final thesis, which is a thing that I'm quite proud of. And this is working with my professor, and I made the final thesis where we analyzed the diet of Plecotus macrobularis. So even though maybe we were stuck in the apartment and we couldn't go out, and there were crazy things happening, like this lady carrying a bag of bread, I could still do some work. And I managed to finish the thesis at the end, and we were more than happy to go out when everything stopped and we could again travel around. So we used this opportunity to travel around with friends again, traveling on the Basque coast, swimming in the ocean. And yeah, this is me visiting my old landlady again to give her a hug. And yeah, maybe one more nice thing about being stuck in a quarantine was that we could still go out sometimes, and we could go climbing, and there's many climbing places in Bilbao, like this one here in the tunnel. So we were just coming here, climbing, playing guitar, and having a nice time, and that's it. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them. We'll stop because I think I've been quite long. That's it. Right.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation, Vit. It was really interesting. Actually, we did receive 2 questions again. The first one was from Andrei, and it was, this is in Basque region? So
yeah, it is.
I guess the answer is yes.
It is. There's one very nice TV series you can watch. It's called Patria. It just released on HBO, which talks about, it's more about their fight for independence. But yeah, this is a Basque region, so it's like the Basque people are in north of Spain, but also in the south of France. So their first language would still be Spanish, so everyone speaks Spanish. But Basque is getting more popular again now because it's been prohibited in the times of Franco. So yeah, you can learn Spanish. And I would advise you to take a Spanish course in the university so you can talk with anyone, but maybe as well learn some Basque words. But more than that, it would be very hard, I think, to learn more than just a couple of words.
Okay, thank you. Then the second question was from Nicola. And actually, I would like to ask this question, Nicola, of course, if you agree, to all of our 3 guests today. And he's asking if you would recommend going to a dormitory or finding a flat. So maybe Vit, since you're unmuted, I suggest you start with the answer.
There weren't any dormitories available, if I know correctly, from the university. Or maybe they were and they were really expensive, I'm not even sure. So I think the best thing would be to go to a flat. But then it might be a bit more expensive, depending also if you are prepared to live with someone else in your room. It might be cheaper, since I wasn't, because I've been living for 2 years in Koper, having to share a room with someone. I didn't want to live in the same room with anyone ever again. And yeah, I paid a bit more. I paid, I think, maybe 350 euros per month, or maybe even 400 with all the expenses, which is basically a bit less than all your Erasmus scholarship for a month. But still, I think it's more important to have your own privacy than to maybe pay less, but that depends on the person. But I don't know of any dormitories that would be available for students.
Okay, thank you. Nina?
So in my case, I remember I was looking for some dormitories because this would be my initial guess. I don't know why I decided for the apartment, but I don't know. Like, I would go to the dormitory maybe. But on the other hand, I didn't have so much more privacy in the apartment I was living. So no, I think I remember why, because dormitories were not even so close to the city center and to university. So I was thinking, okay, it's far away and something like that. But yes.
Okay, Nick, are you maybe still here, since I see that you're still connected?
Yes, yes, I'm here. In Lisbon, dormitories are not common, but in my case, there was an opportunity with Egash Muniz. So in the campus, they have, I think, approximately around 200 rooms for students, and I don't know what is the price, but it's it's much cheaper, I think, than the regular apartments. And there are cleaning ladies. There is like pool, fitness. This is written in their website.
Okay, great, thank you. However, I will add also my opinion as the international office. Usually we suggest to students to contact the institution directly, as in the case of University of Primorska, for example, we cannot offer to exchange students' bed in the dormitories. So we usually give them some suggestions, contacts, and so on for finding a private apartment. And more or less also the other international office work the same way. So no one's gonna actually be angry if you ask them for practical info where to get accommodation. Otherwise, there's also a website established, Housing Anywhere. It's an agency that actually takes care of exchange accommodations, because students, when they go on an exchange, they can list their flat as an empty one. They can offer a bed, and student who's coming, for example, in Koper can take his or her bed. So it's actually like an exchange of flats. So I know that they charge kind of a commission or something, but it's not that big. So I suggest you, in case you don't find anything else on your own, that you check also this website. It might be, an option. Maybe since our three guests are still here, I would like to take this opportunity to ask a question that's probably interesting to all of the students. You received a scholarship, an Erasmus scholarship, and I was wondering if you can maybe share your experience. What could you actually afford with that scholarship? We know that it's not much, it's a help, it probably doesn't cover all your costs, but just to get an idea what to expect. Who's gonna be first? You're all muted, maybe Nick.
So I don't know. I don't really know how to answer it. I arrived back with some with a minus on my account. It is for sure. But as I said, so for example, I spent around 260 euros for accommodation per month. I received around 500 euros per month. So the other half was meant for other stuff. But I also had some of my own money. So I think I spent somewhere around 700 euros per month approximately, let's say.
Okay, Nina.
So the apartment I found was really cheap. I think it was, as I said, 180 euros per month. And at that point, the scholarship for Hungary was 300 euros per month, something like that. So kind of half stayed. I don't know how much I used in everyday basis, because I didn't want to count it, every month, because at the end you don't want to see how much you're spending. But I would say, for example, with the scholarship money, probably you can cover the apartment. You can find better apartments and more luxury ones and having such a fancy stuff inside, or you can just find an apartment that is good enough and you can cover it with scholarship money. What you're gonna have to spend money on, let's say it's food and everything else, but you also spend the money for that here. The only difference, or at least in my case, was that here, before I went, I was working, so I was just getting some money, but there I was just spending money, not working. So yeah, but the scholarship is nice. You can survive with, not just with that, but you can survive with that, with using that. It helps you a lot.
And for me, it was cheaper to go to Bilbao than to pay for an apartment in Kopere and not get any scholarship. So it wasn't really a thing of going or not going, because yeah, it was cheaper. And I think I spent quite a lot of money on food because I eat quite a lot, but I would spend money for food anyway. So yeah, maybe the scholarship paid for the apartment and gave me a bit of a money for the spending like day to day, but not too much. So I actually worked for some time before going to the Erasmus, because it would be I think it's impossible just to live from this 400 euros per month, but it would also be impossible to live in Slovenia if you would have to pay for an apartment. And even if not, it's very hard. I don't know, I think it's hard to live with 400 euros per month even if we have the apartment. So
Okay, great. Thank you, Vid. Nick is also adding that without the scholarship, he wouldn't go on an exchange. So, like I explained, we know that it's not much. Usually, the amount doesn't depend on us, unfortunately. But however, we think that it's a nice help when you're deciding for the exchange. We also suggest, like Vid already mentioned, if you have the option to save a bit of money before you go on an exchange, or if you have any other scholarship that can help you through the exchange. Additionally, I received 2 questions in the chat and I will answer them live. So Sarah is asking if she can apply for Erasmus traineeship and find an institution where she wants to work after the application, or if she needs to decide about the institution before the application. So I will first answer to the first part. So when applying for the traineeship, you actually need to choose the country you want to go and not directly the institution. So in the application, you choose where you want to go, Norway. And once your application is approved, then you can start searching for the host institution in Norway. Otherwise, if you already have some arrangements, you can also ask what are the options to host you and so on, even before you apply for the Erasmus scholarship. And the second question, also, what is the best way to find Erasmus traineeship opportunities? Wow, that's $1 million question. Usually we suggest to our students to check with professors and assistants if they have any connections abroad in any laboratories, universities, research institutes, and so on, because that's the easiest way to actually get in. Otherwise, finding an institution means a lot, and really mean a lot, of emails, because usually people are worried that you're gonna be, just how to say, too much for them. They won't pay you. They will have additional problems because they need to teach you everything and so on. But usually, just explaining them that you applied for the Erasmus scholarship and that you will receive some funds helps, because that means that they don't have a financial burden with you. However, in case of any particular countries or, let's say, a field you're interested in, we can maybe help you with our students who went on the exchange in the previous years, because some connection is already established. So in that case, it might be easier. Do you have any other questions, Sarah? You can also join in through the microphone.
No, thank you for answering.
Okay, great. And the second question is from Isabella. Okay, actually, there are 2 questions. Does motivation letter needs to be just 1 page, or it can be 2, and how many characters? We actually let your creativity work on the motivation letter. We, of course, are happy to see creative motivation letters where we see that you have, let's say, a worked out idea where you want to go, why do you want to go specifically there, why do you think that that institution would help you improve in your academic career, how would it implement in your study program, what is like an, let's say, additional thing that you will receive if you go on an exchange. So basically we don't have any suggestion here. You can write 2 pages, you can write just a half of page, but it needs to be good, because we read every motivation letter. That's my reading before I go to sleep. So yeah, keep it interesting. And the second one, what about the language certificate that Nick mentioned? Also, which language should we put? Does every university requires that? That actually depends from the university to the university. Usually they request English knowledge on B1 level, and you also need to submit the certificate that you acquired the B1 level of English. Otherwise, you can again contact international office and ask them what are their requirements. But you need to submit the language certificate also when you're applying at the Erasmus application. So before you go on an exchange, when you apply for the Erasmus exchange, you need to submit your language certificate. If you're enrolled into English study program, that's enough. We don't need any other proof, because since you're studying in English, that means that you have sufficient knowledge, otherwise you wouldn't enroll. Otherwise, on Slovene programs like Matura certificate is enough, or if you did a subject in English at FAMNIT, it's enough so that we see that it's passed, or something similar. Isabella, any other question, or did I more or less reply to your questions?
What if we don't have it? Because I'm from Montenegro and I have a language certificate from Slovenian. From mine, of course, I don't have, and from English, I also don't have. That's why I'm asking.
Well, you can still ask for the, I think that's an option, for the online language certificate something. The previous exchange students will probably know it's called OLA. You can test your English through that website. It's offered by Erasmus. What study program are you enrolled to?
Applied psychology.
Yeah, but I know on the first cycle you have biopsychology topics in English or something similar.
I don't think so.
Otherwise, if you have any other, let's say, professor or something similar that can guarantee that you have sufficient knowledge on English, that's enough.
Okay, thank you.
Also, if you, for example, had at your bachelor program a subject in English, or if you did English on your Matura, that is still enough.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Andrei has another question, and that is how different is applying to a uni that's not a partner institution? Are there any limitations for these non-partner institutions? So basically, when you're applying for a study exchange, the agreement with the institution needs to be already established. So in the process of the application for the exchange, you cannot choose the institution that we don't have an agreement with, because the system does not offer it. So what we suggest is that before you submit your Erasmus application, that you carefully check with which institutions we have the agreement. Because sometimes it's happened that, for example, a student chose a partner institution that we don't have an agreement with. He or she wasn't able to choose it in the system. She applied for an X epsilon partner institution and later on didn't decide for the exchange because of this mistake. So what I suggest you have like 2 or 3 weeks of deadline to apply. So I think that's enough time to check the agreements that we have. I already suggest you to check it now, they're open. They are on our website. I can post the link here in the chat, and you can later on check it. However, I would also like to inform everyone that this was just an event to get an insight. How does the exchange look like? We plan to have an additional online Zoom meeting sometime in December or beginning of January. However, it's going to be for sure before the open call. In that case, we can go directly through the application, the requirements, the agreements that we have, or your specific questions about the programs, doubts, and so on. Andrei has raised the hand, so the word is yours.
Yeah, so I have two questions. The Zoom lecture you're mentioning, is it going to happen before the call opening, or before the start of it, or before the end of it?
No, we plan to have it before the publish of the open call, but since I'm not really sure when the open call is going to be published, we plan to have it sometimes in the second half of December or at the beginning of January. Yeah, I must warn you that the open call is not prepared by FAMNIT. It is prepared by the University of Primorska. That's why I don't have an exact date when it's going to be published, but even though the open call is published, you have like 2 weeks to apply, and that should be enough to do complete research in case you have any additional doubts.
Thank you. And also, I'm not sure, but are there any possibilities besides Erasmus if we have a specific institution in mind for an exchange program? Are there any possibilities?
Well, it actually depends in which country are you interested in. We do make new agreements with the institution, but that usually comes on the proposal of the study program coordinator. So in that case, if you have a specific institution in mind, I would suggest you to talk with your study program coordinator. And in case there's, an interested directly from the department that we would like to collaborate with that institution, we of course can establish the agreement. But unfortunately, even if we start the process right now, it depends how much it's going to take to sign the agreement. And that might mean that you won't have the option to apply directly for this institution already in this open call. So unfortunately, here we cannot offer anything at this moment. But like I said, depends which country are you interested in.
Thank you. I have another question.
Can I just a quick one?
Yeah.
So if anyone has any more questions for me, feel free to
Okay.
me on Facebook or whatever. I would love to answer any of your questions. So
Yeah, VIT is coming from the biodiversity department. So if anyone has a question from that specific field, they can direct them directly to VIT, or they can also send it to our email and I will forward it to VIT. VIT, thank you for joining us and have a nice rest of the evening. Bye.
bye.
Okay, sorry, Andrei, back to you.
No problem. I was wondering, by what criteria did you choose the existing institutions? I mean, how come? So is it the program coordinators, the one who initialized it? And also, I see that the ELTE university that Nina went to is listed as a computer science university, and she went there to study mathematics, if I understood correctly. So how strictly do we need to follow the study program listing of the partner institutions?
Well, to answer your first question, yeah, the agreements usually depend on the interest of the department. So in case we receive the interest from the department, we of course start the process of establishing the agreement. Otherwise, sometimes we also receive interest from the foreign institution. So we actually get the requirement to collaborate with them. And in that case, that's the second thing why we established the agreements. While for the second question, some of the institutions have the agreement for more study programs. So in case of ELTE, we have an agreement for computer science and mathematics. So what I suggest you is to filter out on our map your study program, and then you can see with which institutions we have the agreement.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So does anyone else have any questions? You can also ask them in Slovene.
I have a question.
Okay.
So there's an open call in January, but is it only for the first semester or for both semesters? Because I want to go to the second semester of next year.
Okay, so we usually published one open call for the whole academic year. So in January, you had to apply for the first and for the second semester. But like Nick mentioned in his presentation, sometimes it's a bit difficult to decide where you're going to be in 1 year. For example, you apply in January and you want to go to the exchange in the next January. That's almost a year after your application, and a lot can change. So this year we are planning to have 2 open calls, one approximately in January for the first semester and one approximately in spring. I'm not sure when exactly, but it's going to be for the second semester.
Okay, I have another question. So
okay.
If that happens, what you said, a lot happens in a year, and if I decide to cancel my Erasmus exchange, I can do that, right? I can cancel my agreement.
Yeah, you can cancel your application. At the moment, we don't have any, let's say, penalty to pay or something. Once your application is approved, we actually guarantee you to give you the scholarship. In case later on you decide that you're not able to go on an exchange or something comes in between, we just ask you to please inform us, and basically that's it. You can still go in the next open call, but unfortunately, once you decide not to go, then that's it.
Okay.
But however, I suggest you know, once your application is open, wait with the cancellation until the very last moment.
Okay.
Because since there's no penalty or anything else, then you know, why don't wait? Yeah, now I see that Pamela and Milica asked something in the chat. So are grades important for getting the scholarship? The scholarship is offered to anyone whose application is, let's say, approved. We check the grades when we have a lot of candidates. Until now, we didn't have a limited place of the candidates for the exchange. That's why we're trying with such events to encourage you a bit. But we actually think that it's more important that we see you as a character more than your grades. I hope I explained myself well. Okay, do we have any other question at this point, maybe? Andrei?
I'm just looking at the map and I'm not sure how can I filter out the partner institutions by study program. So any help with that?
Yeah, maybe I can wait to just share the screen. So that's, for example, in Slovene, but I can go also to the English one. So you go to international cooperation, agreements, and here you have the map. Also, you have agreements divided by the country. And here on the top of it, you click this icon, and here you have all the programs. So the first one, mathematics, computer science, and you basically just check out the programs that you're not interested in. And now you see the agreements for the computer science program.
Thank you very much.
Okay, great. This map with agreements works for every program. So all of you can filter out the relevant program and check what kind of agreements we have. Okay, I think, yeah, Nicola.
Yeah, sorry. My phone rang just as I unmuted.
No worries.
It's Borat. Okay, my question was, if I choose to go, I mean, we get the scholarship, but we pay the, plane tickets, right? Or
yeah, you don't get the separate budget for the travel expenses. You actually get the scholarship, and that scholarship helps you through all of your expenses. Mm-hmm. It's actually divided that before you go to the exchange, you get, I think, 70% of the scholarship. And once you return from the exchange, you get the rest, the 30%. I think that it's 70-30 or it's 80-20. I'm not really sure about the percentage because the scholarship is covered by the university, so not directly funded, but it is something like that. Maybe Nina, since I see that she's still here, can.
I think if I remember correctly, it's 80-20. So you get 20
yeah,
at the end.
okay.
You give everything. And maybe I can add something. If I knew before, maybe it would help me. If you're an undergraduate student and you want to go somewhere, and let's say you're going to Portugal, you don't speak Portuguese, and online, when you check the subject, it's written that they only offer courses in Portuguese. First thing before just saying, okay, I will not go, is maybe writing an email to maybe someone who is in the international office there, or to a professor who has that subject. Ask them, there are some options that they could like meet on you like separately and then just do it in that language, in English, and give you some coursework. And the other thing is, if you're undergraduate, it helps, you can also check postgraduate subjects. So maybe something from master courses could be useful, and maybe you could use it. Because I know at one point I was deciding I wanted to go to an Erasmus on my undergraduate. I couldn't find anything in English, so I didn't go. So if I knew this before, maybe I would have gone already before. So, yeah.
Do the points count if I take a subject from a master's degree?
Yes.
Do I still get ECTS points?
Oh, definitely. If you're undergraduate and you take for masters, there should. If you do it vice versa, maybe they wouldn't, but before you go to talk to your coordinator, and you say to the professor, say, okay, look, I want to take this, and this. It's offered on master's course, or you can even, you're computer science and you want to take a course from mathematics, but maybe it covers kind of the same subject that, it's the same coursework, or you would do in some computer science course. You take that one and say to the coordinator if he agrees. At the end, before you start going there, or before you start listening to courses, everything should be signed off by the coordinator. When he says yes, it's yes. So you can just ask them here at FAMNIT. That's the important stuff, that everything that you do there, you're going to have the credits here, that it's going to be written in sheets at the end. So it's going to be done. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, basically what Nina explained is correct. Usually when you're at your bachelor level, you can take the subjects from the master level, and they are also recognized at FAMNIT, but we don't allow vice versa. So in case you're going on a master's exchange, you cannot attain the subjects from the bachelor because the level of difficulty wouldn't be adequate. And like Nina mentioned, basically, we don't have anything to do with the subjects that you're going to listen abroad, but actually the subject is a topic that you need to discuss with your coordinator. So basically you just need them to present what subjects you want to take, how are they going to be recognized when you return from your exchange, and if the coordinator agrees, that's basically it. And also additional thing that Nina mentioned, on FAMNIT, for example, even if the subject is implemented in Slovene language, we offer it to exchange students. We still offer individual consultations in English. The professors provide the literature in English, and they also have an exam in English at the end of their exchange. So more or less things are working the same way also abroad, even though if the subject is, I don't know, in Spanish. Usually you can, I mean, if the institution agrees you can attend it, you will be offered individual consultations, you will get your literature, they will give you some different project, and at the end the exam in English, but that doesn't mean that you cannot do it just because it's in Spanish. So keep your mind open. Any other question in the meantime? Nina, you got a compliment in the chat.
Thank you.
And also Nick says bye. He encourages you to apply to Erasmus, and it's the best thing that happens to your life. Okay, so if you don't have any other questions, I would just say that we finish here. In case anything else happens in between, we're always here through the email. Like I mentioned in the beginning, we can also arrange a Zoom meeting and discuss specific questions. Otherwise, don't forget that we plan an additional meeting with completely practical things about the open course, the application, the documents, and so on. So just don't worry. Maybe sit back, take a look at the agreements, and think about where you want to go and what you want to do in the next academic year. Guys, have fun and a nice rest of the evening.